But first of all, I think it is important for us to introduce ourselves. As you know, Garuda Indonesia held our general shareholders meeting on April the 12th, and the shareholders have decided to appoint a new management team. A new management team on the 12th of April 2017. As the CEO is myself. Formerly, before I joined Garuda Indonesia, I was the CFO of Bank Mandiri for about 11 years between 2006 until 2017. And before that, since 2003, I was also part of Mandiri at the time. We also have two other new members of the board of directors. One was Ibu Nina Sulistiowati, who is the Director of Marketing and Information Technology. Ibu Nina, before she joined Garuda Indonesia, was formerly the President Director of Pertamina Lubricants, but also for a very short period of time. Before she was the President Director of Pertamina Lubricants, she was the VP or the division head in Pertamina, and also various other positions as the distribution as well as commercial in Pertamina. The other new member of the board was Ibu Puji Nur Handayani, who is now the Director of Production. Ibu Puji was formerly the VP of Business Strategy and Development of Garuda Indonesia between 2015 until 2017. And before, she was actually the head of Strategy and Development of Garuda Indonesia. She held various positions, particularly in operations in Garuda Indonesia as well. And then we have four members of the board of directors, which was already part of the board of directors of Garuda. Pak Helmi, who has been the Director of Finance and Risk Management in Garuda. Ibu Linggarsari Soeharto, who has been the Director of Human Capital and General Affairs for quite some time. Pak Niko Demus Lampe, who has been the Director of Services for about 2 years already. And Pak Sigit Muhartono, who is the Director of Cargo as well as other ancillary business of Garuda. So as the new board management team of Garuda, we are actually very excited about the opportunity to be part of Garuda Indonesia. We believe, next page. We believe that Garuda has gone a long way in terms of the transformation of Garuda, particularly since 2005 until 2014, for example, and up until now, Garuda has made a lot of progress in terms of improving its operational excellence, brand reputation, as well as the customer services. As you can see on this page of the presentation, Garuda Indonesia has made very significant improvement in terms of our services. As a matter of fact, in 2016, for example, for the last 3 years, we have actually been considered as the airline with the best cabin crew, particularly in the economic class. We have also been able to get a 5-star services, for example. We have also made very strong progress in terms of our brand reputation, as well as how we are actually serving our customer, being shown by the number of passengers that are actually being carried for the last several years. Despite the fact that airlines has been very competitive for the last several years, the compounded annual growth of the number of passengers has been growing at about 14.5%. Year on year. In 2016, for example, we have carried about 35 million passengers through our airlines. Cargo carried also has been growing quite significantly. And also, as you can see, we have actually been growing in terms of the number of fleets from only about 49 fleets in 2006 up until now, at the end of 2016, for example, we have actually been able to grow to about 196 fleets combined between Garuda Indonesia and Citylink. So we have actually made quite a significant progress as an airline. And I think for us as the new management team, this is actually has been a good, we are going to be able to leverage our reputation, our operational excellence, to be able to, if you look at, I would like to be able to share with you though about some of the challenges that we are actually facing right now. As you can see, for the last 3 months in 2017, even though that, as we have mentioned before, that Garuda has been considered as one of the most prominent airlines, not only in Indonesia but also regionally. But if you can see in terms of the financials, there are some challenges that we need to actually overcome. Despite the fact that our operating revenues has been growing at about 6.2%, our total operating revenues by the end of the 3 months period, by the end of March, for example, has been growing at about 6.2% to be able to achieve about $909 million in terms of operating revenues, being contributed by the growth in terms of the amount of passenger revenues that has actually been growing at about 3.1%, and cargo revenues that has actually been growing at about 19.5% on a year-on-year basis, and our other income has been growing at about 18.7%. In terms of our net income by the end of the first quarter of 2017, we have to report a negative $99.1 million in terms of our net income, particularly because the growth in our expenses. So that is one of the challenges of the new management team. How are we going to be able to improve significantly our financial performance despite the fact that operational excellence and customer experience has continued to be quite solid, but we have some quick win priorities that we are going to implement in the next 3 to 6 months. Number one, our priority is how are we going to be able to continue to reduce our fleet costs and optimize our fleets through some very quick win initiative that we are actually going to do, whether it is actually going to discuss with the manufacturers as well as our lessor. Number two is continue to optimize our network and our routes. Number three, how are we going to be able to get better values from our subsidiaries? We have 7 main subsidiaries, including Citylink and GMF, for example. And what we intend to do to continue to be able to improve our performance is to have better integration with Citylink in terms of our network, fleet, as well as the scheduling. The fourth quick win initiative that we think should be implemented to quickly improve the financial performance is how are we going to be able to reduce our other costs, excluding the fleet, significantly. The fifth initiative is how are we going to be able to optimize our revenue, enhance our revenue management system through various initiatives in pricing optimization. So those are the 5 quick wins priority that the new management team is going to try to implement in the next 3 to 6 months. I believe my previous experience as the finance director of Bank Mandiri will come in quite handy in terms of how are we going to be able to quickly improve our financial performance. But we believe that despite some of the challenges that we have on our financial performance, our operating performance continue to show some solid indicators as indicated by a significant improvement in the seat load factor. On a year-on-year basis, our seat load factor has improved from about 66% about a year ago to about 72.5%. We continue to have one of the best in terms of safety records. We continue to also have quite good aircraft utilization right now, but we intend to continue to improve these operational excellent indicators to be able to improve our financial performance as we have actually been able to identify just now. We have already mentioned to you about some of the financial indicators just now. And we have already mentioned to you that because our revenue increased by about 6%, particularly we contributed from improvement in cargo as well as the passengers revenue. But as we have already mentioned just now, expenses grew higher than the revenue growth. Fuel expenses, for example, grew on a year-on-year basis at about 54%. Other expenses grew at about 16.3%. As a result, total expenses grew at 21.3%. And I think that is one of the challenges that we need to, that's why two of the quick win initiatives that we outlined just now focus on costs, whether it is actually fleet costs as well as other overhead costs, including fuel. So hopefully with the focus of the new management to significantly improve our financial performance in the next 3 to 6 months, we hope we are going to be able to report a much better financial results in the next couple of quarters. So with that, I would like to hand you over to Pak Helmi, our Finance Director, who will present to you in more details about our financial performance. Pak Helmi.
Thank you, Pak Balan. Thank you, Pak Balan. Let me continue the presentation. As on the presentation, the operating review showed our trend as an impact of the increasing volume in operational performance. You can see from here, scheduled airline service gained by 4%. And then on the year due to our trend of passenger and cargo revenues. Non-scheduled airline service increased by 42.1% as support of the charter revenue in this first quarter of this year. And others was expanded by 18.7% on year-on-year, mostly supported by better performance of the subsidiaries and strategy business unit SBU. Next slide. In first quarter, the top line side was improved as support of Garuda Indonesia Group operational performance. Passenger carried expanded by 8.4% year-on-year, mostly due to improving volume in international market. This passenger output trend also impacted our market share. The RPK Group was maintained higher compared to the SK Group. The RPK Group maintained to increase by 15.2%. Year-on-year, while SK Group was set to increase 10.9% year-on-year. Through this performance, Garuda Indonesia Group could set the SLF to be 72.5%. Next slide, please. Back to this one. Domestic and international are also maintained to have the RPK growth higher compared to the ISK growth. For domestic platform, the RPK was maintained to increase by 5.3% year-on-year, while ISK growth was set to increase 3.2% year-on-year and set the SLF achieved the level 68.8%. For the international platform, you can see that the RPK was maintained to increase by 26.0% year-on-year, while ISK growth was set to increase by 19.4% year-on-year, and impacted to the SLF achieved to the level of 74.5%. Both domestic and international platforms were facing a declining trend on passenger yield, consecutively 7.4% year-on-year and 9.7% year-on-year. CityLink also improved the operational performance through upgrading the passenger yield by 3.2% year-on-year. CityLink volume was also maintained to increase as demand growth RPK is higher compared to the supply growth ISP. CityLink has successfully to set the passenger yield. The increasing is one of the reflective of the successfully CityLink how to operate their business. Next slide. Aligning with the increase of passenger carry, market share is also improved in this quarter. The domestic and international market share are maintained to increase consecutively to be 39.2% for domestic and also international is 27.7% for year ending March 2017. The operating expense increased by 21.3% year-on-year as we identified high investment costs and also fuel price hikes. High investment costs related to flight costs such as the fuel and data costs those were exercised in second quarter 2016, especially in international platforms such as Europe, China, and Middle East. Fuel price hike, which is already increased by 36.8% year-on-year this period. In this opportunity, we also need to inform you that the management of Garuda Indonesia Group decided to participate on the tax amnesty in March 2017. So basically, we report the asset, new asset that we have not report yet. We already informed to the tax authority, and then we noted that for the payment of the uang tebusan, uang tebusan for tax, this tax is small. It is about 600 billion rupiah, but there is a consequences of the cost and will be booked in April 2017. The proposed why we participate on this tax amnesty is because we noted that some tax pending in many years ago in Garuda, and then we already calculated that the option to participate in tax amnesty is better for us in terms of cost. So we expect that the number will impact to our P&L in April is about $137 million. And then the member of Garuda that joined or participated in tax amnesty is Garuda, and then CityLink, Garuda Maintenance Facility, ASIS, and Asosabri. So there is 5 members of Garuda Group that joined and participated in tax amnesty. Next. For the additional aircraft impacted the operating expenses to increase due to higher data costs, and this data cost contributes about 1.2% of growth in total operating expense growth was 21.2%. You can see from here that on the December 2016 we have 196 aircraft including CityLink, and then the first quarter is 199. And then the 22 aircraft is old, the rest is about 177 is based on leasing. And we expect that this number 199 will stay until end of this year because some of the aircraft will be also redelivered. We expect that the average of the fleet end of this year is about 5.1 years. From the previous years is about 4.6 years. Next. Kita dulu balance sheet. Total equities were declined by 8.6% year-on-year as effect of lowering bottom line in first quarter 2017. The condition impacted to the least adjusted net debt or EBITDA increased to be 7.3%. The significant growth in operating expenses also impacted the cash flow from operating activities, declined by having negative numbers, but $62.1 million. These are several activities from operating side is cash received from customer is about $928.3 million. Cash payment to supplier is $847.9 million, and also payment of interest and financial expenses is about $12.3 million. These are several activities for investing side, payment for PGB and also maintenance reserve fund, $106.3 million. Also security deposit payment, $200 million. Receipt of security deposit, $10.8 million, and also refund of PGB and maintenance reserve fund, $28.7 million. For the financing side, we noted that there is a proceed of the long-term loan bank loan in financial institution and Sukuk, $520.1 million, and also payment on long-term loan bank loan and financial institution, $413.7 million. Group cash and net gearing. Net gearing was identified to increase due to the financial debt crisis and lowering cash items. Net gearing was set at level 1.4 times compared to previous period was 1.1%. In first quarter 2017, total financial debt was $1.8 billion. Of the total financial debts contributed 48.8% by short-term debt, 41.3% by long-term debt, and the rest contributed by 9.9% by leasing facilities. For the next presentation will be presented by Yusari with the topic of subsidy.
Thank you, Pak Helmi. Garuda Indonesia Group has 7 subsidiaries. The subsidiaries contributed 21.6% of the group total operating revenues and contributed 34.5% of group total assets. The first is the CityLink. As one of the growing subsidiaries of Garuda, CityLink has revenue contribution to group by 13.2%. CityLink operating revenue increased by 17.4% to be $119 million in this quarter, due increase from PAX revenue, cargo revenue, and charter revenue. Although operating revenue CityLink increased, but CityLink has decreased in operating income due to increase of fuel prices and decrease in rental costs due to the addition of aircraft. CityLink has increased in total asset by 7.9% in first quarter 2017 due to increase of maintenance reserve fund. Liabilities has increased by 15% due to bank loan. GMF, Garuda Maintenance Facility, is one of Garuda Group's subsidiaries who serve maintenance and overhaul services. It contributed 3.6% of Garuda Group total revenues. In this period of first quarter 2017, top line increased by 28.2%. The increase of the operating revenue impacted to operating income increased by 1.1%. This upward trend comes from increasing maintenance repair and overhaul from third party and Garuda. Assets in the first quarter amounted to $458.8 million, an increase of 2.5% from for year 2016 due to increase from receivable in line with the increase of revenue. Liabilities in this quarter increased by 0.3% to $270.8 million due to short-term loan for in connection with the additional of work volume. Equity increased by 6% due to increasing revenue of GMF. Aerowisata. Aerowisata is one of Garuda Indonesia subsidiaries which serves in-flight service, hotel and resorts, transportation and other airlines related services. It has revenue contribution to group by 3.4%. In first quarter 2017, operating revenue increased 6.9% year-on-year, mainly contributed by the increase in meal uplift and increase in passenger tours and ticket. Assets per March 31st, 2017 amounted to 3.1 trillion rupiah, decreased 0.3% from last year, mainly due to the decrease in current assets. Liabilities per March 31st, 2017 decreased by 3.3% to 900.1 billion rupiah, primarily due to decrease in loan of the company. Equity per March 31st, 2017 amounted to 2.1 trillion rupiah, an increase of 1.1% from the previous year, in line with the increase in net income. Gapura Angkasa. Gapura Angkasa is subsidiary which focus in ground handling services. It has revenue contribution to group 1.1%. In period of the first quarter 2017, Gapura showed increased trends of operational and financial performance due to increase in ground handling revenue because increasing in production Garuda and increasing warehousing revenue. Unfortunately, we identified operational costs increased significantly due to high investment costs on ground handling service equipment or GSE. Although has increased in operational costs, but net income Gapura Angkasa has increased by 55.6% in first quarter 2017 from loss 3.8 billion rupiah in first quarter 2016 to loss 2.4 billion rupiah in first quarter 2017. Assets per March 31st, 2017 amounted to 2.1 trillion rupiah. There was an increase 19.9% from last year due to the increase in ground handling service equipment. Liabilities per March 31st, 2017 amounted to 1.7 trillion rupiah, significantly increased due to the increase in long-term loans following the increase of fixed assets. Equity per March 31st, 2017 amounted to 383 billion rupiah, declined by 0.6% from the previous year due to a decrease in accumulated profit. Next, Sabre. Sabre is which is contributed 0.2% of total operating revenues. In first quarter 2017, Sabre booked profit 382.1 thousand US dollar. Sabre Indonesia managed to recording an operating income in first quarter 2017 amounted to 477.4 US dollars. This is closely related to the company's survival programs related to the decreasing segment of three top travel agents and compensated through the growth of online travel agent, the development of online travel agent or OTA system, and active role in the travel fair activities. Asset per 31st March 2017 increased to 9,455.5 US dollar due to an increase in the current asset value, especially cash and cash equivalent and account receivable. Liabilities of March 31st, 2017 increased by 1,355.9 US dollar due to an increase in the actual cost of the travel fair equipment lease expenses in March 2017 and the personnel expense, which is in line with the increase of performance first quarter 2017. Assist is a subsidiary which focuses on IT services. It has revenue contribution to group 0.1% in the first quarter. We identified Assist also has upward strength in terms of financial performance. Top line increased by 41.8% and net income increased significantly to 1.9 billion. Assets per March 31st, 2017 amounted to 416.2 million US dollar, or an increase of 4% from the previous year, mainly due to the increase in current assets. Liabilities in first quarter amounted to 261.6 million US dollar, increased by 5.7% due to the increase in current liabilities. Equity also increased, amounted to 154.5 million US dollar in this quarter. Holiday France or Gift France, Garuda Indonesia Holiday France is a subsidiary of Garuda Indonesia. The business activities include travel agent, tour and travel, airline ticket sales, and aircraft leasing. Gift France mission is to provide a wide selection of the best holidays of various travel service providers selected for tourists and corporations domiciled in Paris, France. It has revenue contribution to group 0%. In the first quarter 2017, top line increased by 29% year-on-year. This upward trend mostly impacted by increased number of fleet leased by Garuda Group. Assets per March 31st, 2017 amounted to 427.1 million US dollar, increased by 13.4% following the increase in the maintenance reserve fund and security deposit, and increase in prepaid rent aircraft. Liabilities per March 31st, 2017 amounted to 423.5 million US dollar, increased by 13.5% due to the increase in unearned revenue and advance received. Equity per March 31st, 2017 amounted to 3.5 million US dollar, increased by 10.1% from the previous year, in line with increase of net income the company. Next will be Pak Nicodemus.
Thank you, Bidari. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share our products and services. As part of this priority, management focus to enhance the customer experience through upgraded products and services. Now, the Indonesia with new features for the miles and new feature for EPTV. Body mass saving. In focusing to mitigate the cannibalization by foreign airline disease for the Garuda Group market share operation, Garuda Indonesia SPV have exercised the customer loyalty program combination of Super Green Garuda Miles. This combined Super Green Garuda Miles program was launched on Saturday, February 15, 2017. The event named Citylink Day at the Gandaria City Mall, South Jakarta. With the Super Green Garuda Miles, members can redeem their mileage to Citylink and Garuda Flight. Further, Garuda Indonesia and Citylink also plan a new synergy program to adjust the capacity on its own route. For the several price-sensitive routes will be served by Citylink, and for the potential middle high demand routes will be served by Garuda Indonesia. In 2016, the company also gained various national and international recognition, such as World Best Cabin Crew and 5-star airline. The achievement reflects Garuda Indonesia's commitment to deliver best services with Indonesia's hospitality its support. On February 17, 2016, Garuda Indonesia awarded 5-star airline from Skytrax for the second consecutive year. On July 12, 2016, Garuda Indonesia awarded the World Best Cabin Crew from Skytrax for the third consecutive time. That's all updated in regard of product and services of Garuda Indonesia. Thank you.
So with that, we would like to conclude the presentation part of the analyst meeting. We would like to thank you again for coming, and I think now we are going to open for Q&A. Yang pandu dong, siapa?
Yunus.
Ada yang pandu. Oke. TV-nya perlu. Jadi kalau misalnya berantakan kayak gini, yang gue tahu bukan salah.
From US. I would just like to ask a quick question related to the inside. So it seems like the fuel costs actually impacted a lot of your overall expenses. Could you share with us what kind of specific strategies you're trying to implement in order to cut down your costs? And especially on page number 10, I can see as CASA picked up quite differently in your Garuda and also your Supreme. Could you explain to us why that is different?
Silakan Pak Dayat.
Thank you. So we noted that at least there's a two component cost that very significant difference comparing to the same period of last year. So one of them is fuel expense, and then as you know that we also already from last year and when the first result, the last year result, that we keep doing the hedging, and then last year we get reducing at least almost $3 million last year, and this year we keep continuing to do hedging, and then recently that we estimate that total fuel burn is about this year is about 15 million barrel, and then we recently we keep hedged now is already almost 13% the exposure in 2007 that already hedged, and also we already hedged for the next year because the policy we can hedge until up to 1 year, and then now for the 2018 we have already hedged for 6%. The 2017 hedging cost for the fuel prices we book is 151.02, and also I can share with for the budget itself for the fuel is based on the price is about 54.27 US cent per liter. So we keep doing hedging because and also we keep monitoring because some movement in the market on the last 1 month. Market is have a few mix on the fuel expectation, but overall most of them is forecast is about increasing the fuel price. So we are this year we keep continue on the hedging. And then for the other operating expense, we noted that for operating expense we budget actually on the first quarter is about $812 million, but realization is about $817 million. So there is a exit for the target of this year is about $5 million. So that for example, like food expense, the realization in first quarter food expense was $240 million from the target of 246. So actually, we can save. We do some saving in the budget of fuel. But at the same time that we were very concerned about the other operating expense. Other expense is higher than our budget. So that's basically one of some of the strategy that we want to manage for the cash, for the cost.
Citylink sama kita kok beda.
Kok beda? Ya.
Citylink kenapa itu gede?
Apa?
Citylink kenapa lebih besar?
Iya, pertumbuhannya.
Pertumbuhan pesawatnya lebih gede, Pak. Pertumbuhan pesawatnya.
Okay, for the difference between the cost ISK between Citylink and Garuda is number of aircraft, because recently the first quarter of 2017 in Garuda is the aircraft is decreased, but at the same time in the CityLink is increased. So now CityLink compared to the previous same period last year is increased by about 10 aircraft, but at the same time in Garuda is reduced to 144.
Okay. Is there any questions? Is there any question from the forum?
Sitan.
My question is, the first is about you. I know in online business is very competition and is very minimum. So my question is, how do you improve your yield in the situation now where in the last 2 years we see the oil is falling and you have a you follow the profit from the oil price. But now it's not the same now. So your yield seems still in the downturn. But at the same time, the cost is rising because of the yield. So my question is how the real strategy to continue. And the second is I would like to know the competition situation in City. What happens in the local sector? Because we know that the competition like the service is like full service, but the ticket fare is quite the same, even lower than City. So how do you put it?
Second question apa? Second question tentang CityLink-nya apa? Second question tentang CityLink apa?
Yeah, how do you win the competition? Because the other player, like Lion Air, Batik Air, they are actually full service, but they sell the ticket fare is quite the same in the city.
Maybe I will answer in the more general terms, and then Pak Helmi will answer in more specific terms. I think in regards to the yield itself, what we are intending to do is we are looking at it route by route. And then also looking at it class by class. There are certain routes that we think there is an opportunity for us to be able to do a more across the board price increase. We understand that on certain routes, for example, with the kind of fleet that